And here we are. I've planed and I've sanded. We went up to 320, which means this is pretty smooth. This is as high as I want to go right now for the pre-coat that I'm going to do basically for the wood for the most part, because I'm going to do probably about a 1/8 inch pour over the top of this. And I think what I'm going to do, my original plan was to use tung oil and use that as my finish, but I don't want to really spend another week and a half, 2 weeks messing with this. I'm already getting funny looks from my wife because we need to get the bathroom working back again, and she's not exactly thrilled that we don't have a vanity, and because it's sitting right here. So I kind of want to accelerate this a bit. I think what I'm going to do is actually do a small barrier around here, maybe just even with tape, and then actually put on the front a piece of aluminum that's going to be about 1.5 inches thick, but just have it stick up a lip about 1/8 of an inch, and then do a final pour basically. But before I do that, I need to brush on some of the epoxy to the wood so we don't have bubbles. I did some fixes. There was the one bubble that was there, and another one I believe that was in this area here. So those are all fixed. I also took some epoxy and filled in that cracked piece there. I did miss this one, so when I do my coat here now, I'm going to be filling this in a little bit with some of the clear epoxy. And then this still has like a little bit of a lip to it. If you run your finger over it, you can feel it. But I'm really happy with the rest of this. Just to kind of give you an idea of what it's slightly going to look like. I'm going to do that, kind of clean it off last time before I do a final the pour. I'm going to use some mineral spirits to kind of give an idea. When you go to the top here, you might not be able to see with the camera, but you can see the grain there coming from the metallic going through there. So, but yeah, looks really nice. If I'm not mistaken, the sink hole is going to be about here. It won't be center. Once it gets in the bathroom, I'll be doing some videos on that as well. So I'm gonna take a moment here, set up, and wait for the mineral spirits to kind of dry up here, and then I'm gonna mix a quick little cup of epoxy and do the brush coat and get it ready for the final pour. Okay, here we go. I've already kind of mixed up my my mix here. Can't really tell, but there are some little tiny bubbles in there. And that's even with me already kind of messing with it with the torch. I don't really want to use a 3-inch brush, but it's the only one that I have right now. I'd much rather have a 2-inch. Okay. Now basically I'm just going to paint this on. This is almost like I'm painting, but it's with the epoxy. This is going to be a really, really thin coat. And again, this just kind of helps get some of the bubbles out. If they're going to happen, they're going to happen here. That way when you do your final coat, you're either going to go over the bubbles, or what's going to happen is I'm going to get them out of here, make it to where there isn't bubbles before that even happens, which is the plan with this coat. And like I mentioned when we were doing the pours the other day, it's self-leveling. So even if there is a slightly thicker section of this, it's going to level itself out. It's not really a big deal. And again, the reason we do this, if you didn't watch the other video, is basically when put this on the wood like this, it gets absorbed into the wood some. When it does that, air escapes, and when that escapes, it can create a bubble. This is me and Leah coming to you from the middle of our video. If you could please like and share, that would be wonderful. Or even subscribe to my channel, I would truly appreciate it. Alright, thank you.
Thank you, bye!
This is that one part that had the hole that I didn't fill as part of the wood, and I'm going to leave it on there heavy for a bit. Same with right here. Kind of dribble its way in there. And what can happen with some of those, you kind of have to poke them a little bit because the actual air can stay inside of the hole that you're trying to fill in, and it actually creates not a bubble but like a little dome above where the hole is, which kind of defeats the purpose of trying to get that out of there. If you use a brush like this, one thing you do need to kind of keep an eye on is bristles, because some of the bristles are going to fall off the brush. That happens with normal painting as well. Even when some artists use really good paintbrushes, they still get these bristles sometimes. Oh, see here, it's still filling that hole in. So get some down here, let it kind of just fill it up. That's filling in good there. I'll also paint the sides of this just a little bit, because I don't know which parts are going to be cut off exactly. I know the front part will be, and this is probably going to be the front part here. So this is probably going to get cut off, but it takes 2 seconds to go over it with the brush, so it's not really a big deal. This is one less thing to worry about or find bubbles from, because you don't want them popping up out of anywhere, especially when you have all this epoxy. I mixed, I believe it was 12 ounces, only because I over poured the first. I was just going to do 8, but when I was pouring, I went past where I wanted to go at 4, so I had to go to 6, which means 12 because you're doing hardener and epoxy. So, anyways, people that do a lot of epoxy projects, what they will do is they'll have one of these, and what this is this is basically just leftover epoxy. So like I'll have some epoxy left over from this, I'll just pour it in there, and then since I do work with the lathe, eventually what I'll do is break it out of this container once it's full, and then turn this into some sort of weird epoxy bowl. So pretty much got the whole surface here. I'm seeing some bubbles just from brushing it on, and that's fine. They're going to go away as soon as I hit it with the torch, or not the torch, the heat gun. This looks really good here. Like I said, it was really small, so it wasn't that noticeable. Once we do our final pour, that's going to be gone. This is the only other one I'm kind of worried about. It's looking pretty good, so we should be good there too. I don't see any holes. And I still have 8 ounces, so I only used 4 ounces total overall. I might check this in 15 minutes just to see how it goes, but it's probably just going to sit overnight and dry out.